things that we focus on when we create a chocolate. So firstly, the ideas can be crazy, but it must be delicious. Secondly, we focus a lot on the provenance of the ingredients, as we believe that having great ingredients will produce like very great chocolates. Lastly, the chocolate has to be very memorable and taste very distinct.
What brought us together was our shared interest in chocolate. First started a couple years back when our friends brought back some chocolates from the US. When we tasted that craft chocolate, 2 ingredients only, cocoa beans and cane sugar. It was mind-blowing actually. Flavors of raspberries, of like hazelnuts.
Fossa is actually the name of an animal from Madagascar. The very first chocolate that inspired our journey, it was a single origin dark chocolate, and the beans are from Madagascar.
Basically, I'm the nerd of the company because I'm the one who deep dive into the technical aspect of chocolate. Elena is the driving force, the business driving force. Without her, I think the company would just be a passion project. Yeah. Paris, he came from a bakery and fine dining background. So in fine dining, it's always like kind of try to recreate maybe a flavor that you're familiar with, but in a different form.
I like to do things a little bit out of the boundaries, a little bit different, and try to make things more interesting. Maybe things I will.
No, you come up with all those ingenious ideas, of making something savory. Mala sanko, how we put it in the chocolate, Because of the Singapore food culture, where we have really a mix of a blend of various cultures coming together. When it comes to chocolate, it's the same for us. We get a bit of different culture and present them, in a bar. This may not necessarily present the original culture, but I think it presents a pretty good Singaporean flavor.
All ingredients are sourced purposefully, so they're all traceable. Most importantly is the ingredients have very unique flavor on its own, so that actually enhance the whole chocolate experience.
For our chocolates, we want to share with the people who appreciate our chocolates what goes behind it. Starting from the farm level, the ingredients, all the way until us as the middle processors. Not just in the chocolate bar itself, the packaging or the letter pressing.
I think for now the best seller is actually the 70% dark chocolate one, which actually is really looking at the flavors of the cocoa beans from Philippines itself, and the lychee rose, which is a bit lighter.
We still celebrate handmade products is because it shows the efforts behind the artisans. We can create it in the machines and all that, but it just loses that human touch.
Very astringent, very sharp.
Yeah, very nice.
I've known the Fossa Chocolate founders for quite a number of years, and they've always been very open to collaborate with other artisans. The flavors of the tinchime comes very nicely with chocolate. Just need to get the balance right. As a big fan of 麦片虾, right, this is really awesome. Right, you get that crunch, like eating 麦片虾 plus that salted egg there. You even manage to get the curry leaf taste into the bar. That is what surprised me the most. But this one is like those super mass appeal, I think anybody eat also, like type of chocolate. Yeah.
I think it brings out the acidity of the chocolate.
The chocolate is very sweet with this tea. Nuttiness, I think, towards the end.
But we need to bring out the character of the tea then.
What we're trying is a few different teas, and then we'll find the single origin chocolate that we can actually pair together to make it a harmonious kind of flavor.
Singapore is a very westernized culture. People are not looking to appreciate traditional teas anymore. I think that introducing it through chocolate makes the tea more accessible.
When she first heard that we put the tea into the chocolate, she was shocked.
Very heartpain.
She got heartpain because that tea is very expensive. Yeah.
And she was very worried that the flavours of the tea may not come out in a chocolate.
The respect they have for tea as well makes the collaboration a lot more meaningful. And also on the side, like now that we are working so closely, a lot of the teas I have, I share with them, what chocolates they have to bring, and then we share together, and that way we learn together over time.
I always feel that when you understand the food, where it came from, how it's made, and the nuances, particular ingredients and process, you can actually appreciate it better, you can enjoy it better. So I think that's the Fossa experience that I actually hope that consumers would be able to experience.
The owner, they are both in industries that require them to be really connected all day, the whole week. So they want that weekend to be in a resort environment.
We created a very lush garden around the house. The idea was you will feel like you are in the middle of Bali. Our client wanted a contemporary house with clean lines.
Modern, timeless, and they gave us free hand, which was a really good thing for us.
We actually wanted to create this peekaboo effect as you enter into the house because we need to provide privacy from the road, but we didn't want to have a solid wall here. So we actually had some perforations into the concrete so you can get a glimpse of what is happening into the courtyard. So in the morning when the sun hits into the water, you get the reflection of the water into the ceiling and the space change within the day.
enjoy that social living. So that is a key component to the house.
So when they are socializing and they have friends over, it's like this is the stage. The magic is happening in the kitchen. They are cooking, they are entertaining, they are getting the drinks ready, and the friends are just basically part of that fantastic event.
You want the spaces to be able to be fully combined at some point of time to delete that boundary between the interior and the exterior. Especially when they have social gatherings, they are all within a single space.
So the entertainment room is flanked by a series of panels on both sides. On one side we have the art collection, and then on the other side we have a series of concealed spaces. In this case we have the wine cellar, which is where our client keeps their collection to share with their guests and to enjoy a nice night at home.
Houses next door are very close to each other, and there is a house that sits on high grounds. Eventually, we'll look directly into the private areas of the house, so we had to adapt to those conditions.
It gave us the opportunity to play with skins, to see what would work, and then that skin became a very important element to the house. The skin is the facade, but at the same time, it just gives you that climatic control that is really important when we live in Singapore in tropical areas.
The client, they like dark color skin, so we need to work within that palette, but we didn't want a dark house.
Managing that was really important, and creating those spaces comfortably for them with privacy and light.
We end up opening a lot of skylights to bring light and make a bright space.
Additionally, when you go into the bathroom, we have the shower and the toilet cubicle, both with a private garden that has a small yucca palm, but it gives you some greenery and some nice landscape into the space. The air well is naturally ventilated, it rains on it, so the whole space is quite airy and ventilated.
It's always fulfilling when you see how they leave the house. It's really special to see them fulfilling their dream of a house.
Each jewellery is such an intimate purchase because when the client comes to us, it's a very vulnerable moment, it's a very personal thing. The points that we actually interact with our clients in their lives are very important milestones. It's an extremely privileged position that we're in.
Since young, I've always been somebody who's interested in art and design, and as I grew up, I wanted to make sure that my little pieces of art, it was something that I can bring along with me wherever I went.
Ruiyin and I were in the process of finishing university, so we were trying to figure out what our next steps were, thinking of what we could build together. So, given her background in contemporary jewellery and my background in product design, estate property was quite a natural progression.
We were not sure about the industry, so the fastest and the best way to start was to just take on clients and to see what the demands are for the industry.
We started straight out of school, no experience in this jewellery industry especially. When we were building the business, there was lots of things that we had to kind of learn on the fly. When we designed our first collection, it was really to demonstrate what we can do and our point of view in jewellery. Because I think there's a lot of competition or a lot of jewellers that are accessible to people. We need to allow our clients to understand what our take on jewellery is, why they would come to us and not someone else. It's a piece from our first collection, but we jazzed it up and crusted it with diamonds. The special thing about this ring is, even though it's a very big ring, we shaped it so that it's not cumbersome to wear. And it's quite light actually, so you can wear it throughout the day and it won't really hinder your movements. The other thing about it is, when we placed the diamonds, we didn't just want to, cover the top. For us, when we're designing something, this thing is not just to show to other people, but it's a piece for the wearer to enjoy as well.
It has always been our plans to expand overseas and to be stocked in international retailers, but in terms of getting celebrities and Michelle Obama especially to wear it, I think it has never crossed my mind.
Many countries 都没有这个感觉，那个灵感的感觉，就是说它的 design 跟别人的与众不同啊。所以我觉得它的 design 走到在前边的、前卫的。我跟他一起合作，我也是很开心。我也是有时候跟他交流，他的 design， 我的灵感，他的灵感也是很多给我。
I see it as like he's like the extension of my hands sometimes. I try to always to think outside of the box as much as I can for the market and not think about how it's made. And then I come to Vita and like, okay, let's figure out if this can be made.
We fill our time when we're driving, we're always listening to something, not just music. So this particular podcast, Radio Lab, and they speak about things all like natural phenomena.
It's a lot of science and technology, yeah.
So these topics then, like they catch on.
Somehow this idea has to boil for a while before I think it's curated enough, because sometimes if the idea is too wide, I end up designing 3 collections in one collection, which has happened quite a couple of times. This is one of the series that I'm the most proud of. When you wear, it kind of encapsulates your ear, encages your ear, but at the same time it also forms a V shape that kind of frames your face.
Is this customizable in the different colors?
Yes, so you can customize it into white. Our design philosophy is about finding balance. The balance between negative space and positive space, the old and the new. And I guess it's about finding tension as well. In contemporary jewellery, the idea is to question the value of jewellery itself.
It's a lot more art and academic. The reason for designing a piece of contemporary jewellery is really more to be exhibited as compared to worn. I think that's a main difference. So with fine jewellery, the focus is a lot more on wearing it.
I like that they were small, but they still looked like formal enough. Like I could wear them to like a cocktail, but I could also wear them to like a wedding. And they have diamonds and they're in gold, so I know they'll last. I like that they're locally manufactured. Like that's so rare in Singapore. And the designs are always fresh, and my favorite thing is that they're customizable.
The vibe is very specific, it's very contemporary, it's very forward, it's very unlike traditional jewellery.
For me, State Property is an intersection. I hope that it's an intersection of where art meets design. I hope it's also an intersection of where design meets craftsmanship.
Sometimes I try to create an antique vessel for the wearer to wear, and they then try to put their story into it.
Is really to be able to be a blank canvas, enough of a blank canvas, but at the same time have enough of a personality to first grab your attention. That's a delicate balance that we try and meet each time.